Good morning, everyone, and welcome once again to the science class. I hope yesterday video was much more clear and audible. So, without any delay, let us quickly finish our chapter as we have already completed 90% of the chapter, 90 to 95%. Just we are left behind with our last topic, that is the jaundice, and thereafter we will be moving ahead with the question answers portion. So let us move ahead with our science class. As the science is an interdisciplinary subject which keeps on getting complex, and it also helps in carrying our various day-to-day life activities as well. Okay, now, as if you remember in the last class, I told you that this science consists of three parts, that is physics, chemistry and bio. So basically your physics and chemistry includes all the parts, non-living parts which are surrounding us. Like physics includes your light phenomena, sound phenomena, heat and everything. These come under the physics. Chemistry includes your chemicals, acids, bases and various other things. Moving ahead with the bio, so this bio is your living part when we are talking about, and this chapter is related to your biology. Okay, bio means living, that is germs and diseases. All these microbes starting from microorganism to the macroorganisms, that is छोटे से छोटे चींटी से लेकर के और इतने बड़े बड़े एनिमल्स इंक्लूडिंग ह्यूमन बींग्स, बड़े बड़े हाथी, जिराफ, हिप्पोपोटामस एंड वेरियस अदर मैक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स, ये सारे के सारे क्या हैं? लिविंग हैं. चींटी भी सांस लेती है, बड़ा से बड़ा हिप्पोपोटामस भी सांस लेता है, and including your plants as well, and those plants which are very greater in heights. Okay, so let us start with the last topic which we were not able to complete yesterday, that is jaundice. This jaundice, as the name suggests, okay, this is a very bad disease. In Hindi we call this jaundice to be पीलिया. Okay, as the Hindi name suggests us or give us the complete idea of this, that is पीलिया मतलब पीला. Okay, we are talking about the yellow color. So now I am going to show you how the person who is suffering from jaundice looks like. Let us have a look over this one. Okay, if you can see this person, the most important symptom of this jaundice is the yellow coloring of the eyes as well as the entire body. Basically the eyes become yellowish in color, and at the same time the body color also gets becoming pale yellow or yellowish in color, and this is often caused due to infections in the liver. That is liver, you will be studying in your higher classes, basically 7th class only, that is liver helps in the digestion process by secreting a juice, digestive juice. So when there is infection in the liver, the food does not get digested properly, and as a result or due to some other infections, when we are talking about infections, so there are some kind of infections which occur in the liver, as a result of which the jaundice takes place. Okay, moving ahead with symptoms. Symptoms are just in front of you: yellowing of the eyes, yellowing color of the skin. Next we have the dark colored urine. The dark colored urine means what? That is whenever you go to washroom and you give out your urine, then that urine is generally transparent in color. Okay, generally it is whitish or liquid like, which is transparent just like your water. But the person who is suffering from jaundice, the urine of that person is dark colored. It can be dark yellowish or it can be of some other dark color. Pale colored stools means what? That is basically the when you go to remove your undigested waste. So all these undigested waste, they are basically yellowish or pale yellow in color. Moving ahead to some more informations regarding this jaundice. So if you can see here, these are the symptoms of the jaundice. The very clear cut symptoms are there and you will be very easily able to identify this as well. What are you able to see here? You are able to see here that is a normal person's face is there whose half part has been shown as suffering from jaundice and half part is shown as the normal face. So normal face is quite fresh green or it is having the color of the skin, but the person who is suffering from jaundice has yellowish color skin. Moving ahead with the causes and the symptoms. So in the case of causes, the very first one is acute inflammation of liver. Acute inflammation, inflammation again means सूजन. तो liver हमारा क्या होता है? सूज जाता है. Next is inflammation of the bile duct. Okay, now what is bile duct? Bile is the name of the juice which is secreted by liver, and duct means the pipe which carries the bile juice from liver to the intestine. Okay, now from here the next is when your bile duct gets swollen up. अगर आपके bile duct में ही सूजन हो गया तो क्या होगा? bile juice properly नहीं पहुंच पाएगा फूड के डाइजेशन के लिए, and as a result of which obstruction of the bile duct occur. Obstruction means what? That is some kind of changes occur in the bile duct, as a result of which the bile juice is not able to pass from the liver to the intestine, and as a result of which you start suffering from jaundice. Symptoms: itchiness. Itchiness means khujli. Abdominal pain, same if you would have remembered the pain in your stomach because your inflammation in the liver has occurred, and liver is also a part or organ. Liver is the biggest gland of our body, and this gland is also situated in the abdominal region only. हमारे जो चेस्ट के नीचे और कमर के ऊपर का जो रीजन है, इसी के बीच में हमारा लिवर, स्टमक, स्प्लीन, इंटेस्टाइन, ये सारी चीज़ें होती हैं. एब्डोमिनल पेन आई होप इज क्लियर टू ईच एंड एवरीवन. मूविंग अहेड विद द वेट लॉस, क्योंकि आपका खाना पीना एकदम से अफेक्टेड हो जाता है. यू आर नॉट एबल टू डाइजेस्ट एनीथिंग, यू फील वॉमिटिंग, as a result of which the loss in the weight occurs very rapidly. The color of the stool is paler, which we have already discussed. Fatigue, you do not feel quite conscious, and dark urine, this also we have discussed in our previous picture. Moving ahead with the other part, what is the prevention which we can do for this jaundice? If we talk about the prevention here, so the very first one is to maintain good hygiene. Maintain good hygiene means what? That is taking healthy diets, cleaning all those vegetables as well as fruits before eating or cooking them. Avoid using contaminated food and water, junk foods especially, and taking vaccinations for hepatitis A and B. Hepatitis A and B, these are the terms related to the jaundice only, and I told you I have what I remember is that is in our previous classes I told you to go through your vaccination file by asking your parents. I don't know how many of you have gone through. None of you have shared me on the WhatsApp group as well. When the window is open for you all. Okay, whether you have already seen all those vaccines which we have discussed or not, was that useful for you? None of you have shared those experiences, so I request you to please share me those experiences, whether you have got the vaccination for your hepatitis A and B, as well as rotavirus and various others. If you remember, in yesterday's class we have discussed about the rotavirus vaccination. Okay, so this also you all would have been received earlier only, and this rotavirus or hepatitis A and B would be 110% there in your vaccination file. So please go through it and please do share me whether you have seen or not, and whether it was useful to you or not. All right, so this was all in this chapter. So moving ahead, let us have a quick revision of what we have studied in this entire chapter. Okay, so the germs and diseases which we have studied or completed today was started by your ma'am, and we have discussed about the microbes. So these microbes, they are basically of 5 types, that is your bacteria, viruses, protozoa, algae, or and fungi. Okay, all these things, okay, that is bacteria, algae, protozoa, fungi and viruses, these are the 5 main types of microbes. And why they are called as microbes? Because we cannot see through our naked eyes. Just going ahead with this, all these microbes, they can be seen only with the help of microscope, in which the images of these microbes gets magnified 40 times, 100 times, 400 times. So then only we will be able to see them. Otherwise it is impossible to observe them, impossible to see them with our naked eyes. Even with the specs also we cannot see them. All right, next you all have studied about the useful microbes. The very first one was fixing nitrogen. Okay, fixing nitrogen, that is bacteria are present inside the root nodules of some leguminous plants like pulses, and they convert the atmospheric nitrogen into soluble forms so that they can be taken up by the plants. अब इसको और भी सिंपल वे में समझने की कोशिश करिए. फोटोसिंथेसिस में आपने पढ़ा है कि प्लांट्स लोग कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड डायरेक्टली एटमॉस्फेयर से ले लेते हैं, लेकिन ऐसा नाइट्रोजन के साथ नहीं होता है. प्लांट्स लोग नाइट्रोजन को डायरेक्टली नहीं ले सकते हैं. इसीलिए ये माइक्रोब्स जो कि प्लांट्स के रूट्स में प्रेजेंट होते हैं, एटमॉस्फेयर के नाइट्रोजन को अपने अंदर लेते हैं, उसको सोल्यूबल फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट कर देते हैं, जिससे कि प्लांट्स आसानी से उसे ले सके. ठीक है, अब यहाँ पे प्लांट और माइक्रोब्स, अभी आपको क्या बोला गया कि माइक्रोब कहाँ रहता है? प्लांट के रूट्स में. तो यहाँ पे आप आगे चल के पढ़ेंगे इसके बारे में कि ये एक काइंड ऑफ रिलेशनशिप है. ओके, जस्ट लाइक यू हैव द रिलेशनशिप विथ योर फादर, मदर, ब्रदर, सिस्टर्स, इन द सेम वे प्लांट्स और माइक्रोब्स के बीच में भी रिलेशनशिप है. माइक्रोब्स को घर चाहिए रहने के लिए, बैक्टीरिया को, प्लांट्स उसे घर दे देता है अपनी जड़ में, रूट्स में, एंड इन टर्न उसके बदले में द माइक्रोब्स provide them with the nitrogen. And let me tell you, this nitrogen is the basic component which is required by the plant in proper amount because they manufacture their proteins with the help of this nitrogen. एंड आप लोग अभी से याद रखिएगा कि जब भी हम लोग प्रोटीन की बात करेंगे तो कोई भी ऐसा प्रोटीन नहीं है, ओके, मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द केसेस में, अगर कोई एक्सेप्शनल केस हो तो मैं नहीं कह सकता, लेकिन नहीं तो जितने भी प्रोटीन्स हैं सब में नाइट्रोजन प्रेजेंट रहेगा. इज दैट क्लियर टू ईच एंड एवरीवन? ओके, नेक्स्ट you all have discussed about making medicines and vaccines. Medicines, antibiotics, penicillin fungi से ही बनाया गया था. The first antibiotic was penicillin, which was made from the fungi. So these antibiotics are what? The antibiotics are basically used to kill the microbes and protect us from the diseases. Next, we have digestion. In our intestine, we have different kinds of microbes which help us in producing certain vitamins, okay, or vitamins. Depend करता है, सबकी प्रोनाउंसिएशन अलग अलग है. आप विटामिन्स बोलिए, विटामिन्स बोलिए, आपके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है. इज दैट क्लियर? मूविंग अहेड टू वन मोर कॉमन एग्जाम्पल. आप सभी लोगों ने गाय भैंसों को घास खाते हुए देखा है. वो लोग घास खाते हैं, ओके, दैट इज देयर फूड. द ग्रासेस आर द फूड फॉर द कैटल. पर क्या हमने कभी ह्यूमंस को देखा है घास खाते हुए? या कभी आप घास खाते हो? नहीं खाते हैं, ओके. क्यों नहीं खाते हैं? खा के ट्राई करिए एक बार, धुल के अच्छे से, ठीक है. You will not be able to chew it properly, as well as you will not be able to swallow it properly. And if you swallow it also, you will not be able to digest it. ठीक है, हम लोग ग्रास को डाइजेस्ट नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि हमारे अंदर वो बैक्टीरिया प्रेजेंट नहीं है, ठीक है. लेकिन काउस, बुफालोज के अंदर वो बैक्टीरिया प्रेजेंट होता है जो कि इन ग्रासेस को डाइजेस्ट कर लेता है, कर देता है, जिसके वजह से ग्रास बिकम्स द फूड फॉर द कैटल्स बट नॉट फॉर द ह्यूमंस. नेक्स्ट, you studied about the baking part, baking industry and your alcoholic industry, okay. Both the industries are dependent on these microbes. याद रखिएगा, आप जितने भी ब्रेड, केक, पेस्ट्रीज and your cakes, okay, whatever you are eating, that is just the result of these microbes. That is, the most common is, that is your yeast, okay. So yeast is a fungi. If anyone asks you, give me an example of a fungi, so if you don't remember anything, just directly give the example to be your yeast. जितना भी फ्लफीनेस मतलब आप देखते हो ब्रेड भी काफ़ी फ्लफी होता है, केक क्रीम के नीचे जो ब्रेड होता है वो भी काफ़ी फ्लफी होता है. तो दैट फ्लफीनेस एंड स्मॉल होल्स विच आर प्रेजेंट इन द ब्रेड or the cakes, pastries, or anywhere, that is all just because of these microbes which you are going to study in class 8th, second chapter, microorganisms, friend or foe. Next, you studied about making curd and cheese. That is, curd मतलब दही जो हम लोग खाते हैं, that is containing a bacteria which is known as lactobacillus. And that is bacteria is only responsible for converting milk into curd, okay. Cheese is also the same thing which cannot be prepared without these microbes. Moving ahead with the last part of this, the most important part, that was the decomposition process. So in the decomposition process, we have already studied, that is how the organic waste is getting decomposed. Kitchen waste, plants, dead plants and animals, they are converted into manures by the action of these microbes. Starting with the harmful microorganisms, we discussed about the germs, how the germs are causing diseases. That is, through contaminated food and water. Next was your through the air. Third was through contact with a sick person, and through the insect bites. Okay. Apart from that, we also discussed what are the prevention of these communicable diseases. Like the very first was by keeping ourselves clean, first part. Second, by keeping our homes and surroundings clean. Third part, by using clean water and food. Next, by getting vaccinated. Okay, so these were 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 methods by which we can prevent the spread of the communicable diseases. Moving ahead, we discussed about some other kinds of diseases which are present inside the mother's womb only, which were known as congenital diseases. And the last but not the least, we also discussed about the allergies which can be caused by anything. We don't have any particular cause for this, but these allergies can result from any one of the particles like dust, pollen grains, pollution, sunlight, or anything like that. Okay. Next, if you remember, so these common diseases caused by the microbes we have recently discussed. So I don't think we have to discuss. That is your dengue, malaria, swine flu, typhoid, diarrhea, and jaundice. We have discussed who is responsible, that is the causal organism. Then we discussed about the symptoms. Then we discussed about the prevention, how we can control them. So this was all in this chapter which we have studied. Now the moving ahead to your fair notebook part. So I will be providing you the, let us have a quick discussion of the question answers, whose answers in the PDF format will be provided to you after the class a little later. Starting with the short answer type questions. Okay, the very first question is, what are germs? We all know the disease causing microbes, they are known as germs. The second question is, how do germs spread? By contact with a sick person. अब क्या होगा जब एक व्यक्ति बीमार है तो उसके अंदर पहले से ही माइक्रोब्स प्रेजेंट हैं, जर्म्स प्रेजेंट हैं, और जैसे ही दूसरा एक हेल्दी व्यक्ति उसके पास जाएगा वो माइक्रोब्स सिक पर्सन से हेल्दी पर्सन में ट्रांसफ़र हो जाएंगे और उसे भी डिसीज कॉज कर देंगे. ऑलराइट, मूविंग अहेड टू द थर्ड क्वेश्चन वी हैव, व्हाट डू यू अंडरस्टैंड बाय द टर्म पैस्चराइजेशन. याद रखिएगा बेटा आप सभी लोग, इसमें टू वर्ड्स आर वेरी मच important whether you write the when you are going to write down the answer of this pasteurization, that is heating at high temperature and cooling it suddenly. Is that clear? Heating of milk at high temperature and then suddenly cooling it is known as pasteurization. Okay, and this is done so that our milk may last longer and it may remain free of any kind of germs. Moving ahead to last question of the short answer, why should mattresses, linen and clothes be exposed to sunlight? I'm sorry, the spelling of exposed has been misspelled. Okay, so here if you can see, this will be this part, that is here, this one. So why it is exposed to sunlight? So that it gets disinfected. Because see, mattresses, linen और cloth, कई सारे रीजन्स हैं. जब हमारे घर के अंदर ये सारी चीज़ें प्रेजेंट होती हैं तो चांसेस होते हैं कि ये सारे लोग डैम्पनेस, सीलन के वजह से या फिर प्रॉपर खाली मॉइस्चर के वजह से, ठीक है, कई सारे माइक्रोब्स इनके ऊपर आकर के बैठ सकते हैं. So that is why we should put it into the sunlight so that if there are any kind of microbes, they will be getting killed or they will be getting removed by the action of the sunlight. Moving ahead with the long answers. Okay, so F part, starting with the very first one, list the ways in which microbes are useful to us. Just now we have discussed medicines, antibiotics, decomposition, baking industry, and various others. Alright, we will be discussing them or writing down them in detail. So the second question is, how do germs spread through contaminated water and food? Names and disease caused as a result of this. I have modified a little bit question because this was a little bit longer question. So how do germs spread through contaminated water and food? When we drink this contaminated food or water, these harmful germs which are present in this contaminated water or food, they get transferred inside our body and they start malfunctioning or causing various kinds of diseases like typhoid, cholera. Okay, these are some of the diseases. Moving ahead to the next question, we have, how do mosquitoes spread malaria and dengue? Generally, in the case of malaria, malarial parasite is present inside this mosquito, which gets transferred when these Anopheles or Aedes mosquito, they bite us, and as a result of which, when they get transferred into our bloodstream, through our bloodstream they move from one place to another and thereby affect our different organs, because each and every organ has blood present inside it. Next we have, what are the various ways in which we can protect ourselves from communicable diseases? If you remember, the very first was sanitation, by keeping ourselves clean. Second, we discussed by keeping our homes and surroundings clean. Third, by getting vaccinated, by using clean water and food. These are 4 to 5 ways in which we can protect ourselves from these communicable diseases. Next, we have, what are allergies and how are they caused? All of us, we know allergies are the reactions which are shown by our bodies in response to some of the particles. It can be your dust particles, it can be your pollen particles, or anything like that. Okay, so now let us, we have revised the chapter also, we have completed everything also. So now let us go ahead with the last part. Okay, today I'll be providing you all the question answers and everything. Please write it down in your notebooks, complete it as soon as possible and start preparing it. I request you again, last week I told you to have a thorough reading of the chapter because questions can be asked from them. Okay, from the middle of the chapters also the questions can be asked. So in order to avoid any kind of misconceptions, read the chapter thoroughly and please do ask your doubts, because till now I hope this is my 6th class going to be ended today, but till now nobody has asked me any of the doubts. So either you are able to understand everything or you are not able to understand anything. Only these two happenings are there. Okay, so please do take care of this. Read the chapter thoroughly, do your work, complete your work on time and start preparing for your unit test. The way the worksheets and everything will be provided to you whenever it will be getting prepared, but don't wait for that last moment, but start preparing your revision sheets. Start doing your revisions, UT part, UT1 part, UT2 part, whatever it is, please start preparing it thoroughly. That's all for today. Till then, till the next class, please stay safe and stay healthy, and please be serious now because your UTs are going to start, and please don't take it very lightly. Thanks to all of you. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.